Imagine this, a case so high profile, so gripping, that it grabs the attention of millions. The media swarms, providing updates every minute, dissecting every detail of the case, sometimes even before it reaches the courtroom. What happens when this coverage crosses a line and begins to impact the very fairness of the trial? This is a delicate balance we must explore today. Welcome to episode 6 of the Truth About Legal Journalism Unfiltered. In today's episode, we are diving deep into the intersection of media coverage and the judicial process, examining how high-profile legal cases are shaped by the media's presence and what this means for justice itself. Part 1 of this lecture is about understanding the media's role in high-profile cases. Let's start with the basic question. What is the media's role when it comes to high-profile legal cases? Is it simply to inform the public or does it go beyond that? The media serves as a bridge between the legal system and the public. It keeps us informed, helps us understand complex legal issues and fosters public discourse. However, in high-profile cases, the role of the media becomes more complicated. While public interest is crucial, the way the media portrays a case can shape opinions and influence the legal proceedings. The question is, can the media cover a legal case without compromising the fairness of the trial? And if not, what is responsible for managing that delicate balance? Part 2 of this lecture is the right to know versus the right to fair trial. One of the most fundamental issues that arise in high-profile cases is the conflict between two essential rights: the public's right to know and the accused's right to fair trial. The public's right to know stems from the need for transparency. It's essential that the public understands the functioning of the legal system, especially in cases that have widespread social or political implications. However, this right is in tension with the right to a fair trial, which ensures that a defendant can receive an impartial hearing and is judged based on the facts of the case, not on media-driven public opinion. High-profile cases are especially tricky. For example, consider the Aarushi Talwar murder case. The media coverage was intense from the very beginning, and by the time the trial commenced, public opinion had already been shaped, sometimes by incomplete or misleading information. The extensive media attention surrounding this case raised the question: did the media coverage affect the fairness of the trial? The courts must sometimes step in and impose restrictions on the media to protect the fairness of the trial, such as issuing gag orders or limiting the dissemination of certain details. But it's not always effective in maintaining that balance. Part 3 of the chapter is sensationalism and the impact on public perception. Now let's talk about sensationalism, a term we have touched on before but one that deserves deeper examination when discussing high-profile cases. Media outlets often focus on the most sensational aspects of a case, aiming to attract viewers, increase sales and drive social media engagement. The problem with this is that it can distort the facts, manipulate emotions and sway public opinion. Sensationalism is not just about grabbing attention, it's about telling a story in a way that doesn't necessarily reflect the legal reality. Take the Sushant Singh Rajput's case. For example, the media's coverage of the actor's death spiraled into a circus with conspiracy theories, wild speculations and a frenzy of public opinion being created, or before any substantive legal conclusion could be reached. The intense media coverage turned the investigation into a media trial, leaving the legal system to struggle under the weight of public pressure. While sensationalism may capture the public's attention, it can ultimately harm the pursuit of justice. It can fuel biases, prevent impartiality, and influence potential jurors, thus undermining the fairness of the trial. Part 4 of the lecture is the role of social media in shaping public opinion. Today we are not just dealing with the traditional media like television and newspapers. The rise of social media has created a new dimension in the way legal cases are covered and perceived. Social media platforms like the Twitter, Instagram and Facebook allow anyone with an account to become a journalist or an opinion maker, sharing their views and amplifying the conversation. This democratization of information can be a positive force for awareness and accountability, but it also has its downsides. During the Sushant Singh Rajput cases, social media played a pivotal role in turning the actors into a villain, with hashtags like arrest Rhea trending on Twitter. The widespread speculations fueled by influencers and users without access to full information created an atmosphere of toxic judgment, where a person could be tried in the court of public opinion long before the legal process had even begun. The immediacy of social media means that there is no time to properly vet information, which can lead to rumors, misinformation, and undue pressure on the legal system. Can the law keep up with the spread of social media, or we are seeing a new era where public opinion shapes legal outcomes? Part 5 of this lecture is about court-ordered restrictions and judicial oversight. Given the potential for media interference in high-profile cases, courts sometimes have to step in to ensure that the fairness of the trial is not compromised. Judicial oversight can take many forms, including imposing reporting restrictions, issuing gag orders, or even closing courtrooms to the public when the case is of very sensitive nature. The Aarushi Talwar case again provides an example where the media's focus on the Talwars as accused individuals before the facts were fully known led the courts to impose restrictions to prevent further media interference. Court-ordered restrictions are essentially to maintaining the integrity of the legal process. However, enforcing such restrictions is easier said than done. In today's 24/7 media landscape, where information is shared instantaneously, it's hard to control what the media publishes, especially on social media platforms. Ultimately, the question remains, should courts have more control over media coverage in high-profile cases, or is it the media's responsibility to self-regulate and ensure fairness? Part 6 of the lecture is the global perspective, how other countries tackle media trials. Let's now look at how other countries address the issue of media trials and the right to fair trial. In the United States, for example, the Sheppard versus Maxwell case from 1966 set a precedent for how courts must protect a defendant's right to a fair trial when media coverage becomes excessive. The case involved Dr. Sam Sheppard, who was accused of murdering his wife. Media coverage was so sensationalized that the US Supreme Court ruled in favor of a new trial due to the impact of media on public opinion and the jury pool. Similarly, in the UK, the Lord Hutton inquiry into the death of Dr. David Kelly was subject to strict media regulations, ensuring that the inquiry process was not swayed by sensationalism or trial by media. In India, while the legal system has mechanisms for restricting media coverage, the rise of digital platforms has created new challenges. In high-profile cases like the Rhea case, judicial efforts to curb sensational coverage face significant obstacles from social media, where discussions continue to dominate. Each country grapples with how to balance transparency with the preservation of fair trial. The question remains, how much should we regulate the media when it comes to high-profile legal cases? Part 7 of this lecture is the impact on justice. Can we protect fair trials in the age of media? Let's wrap up today's discussion by addressing the core issue. Can we truly protect the right to a fair trial in the age of relentless media coverage? The media, in its quest to inform and entertain, can sometimes inadvertently erode the very principles of justice. Sensationalism, social media pressure, and biased narratives can influence the public perception of guilt or innocence long before a trial is over. The key to protecting the fairness of a trial lies in balancing the public's right to know with the accused's right to trial fairly. Judicial oversight, media responsibility, and public awareness all play a crucial role in ensuring that the media does not become a tool for shaping the outcome of legal proceedings. The challenge lies in maintaining this balance in an era where information flows freely, but responsibility seems to be in short supply. As we close episode 6 of The Truth About Legal Journalism Unfiltered, we are left with one critical question. How do we ensure that media reporting on high-profile legal cases serves the public interest without compromising the integrity of the justice system? The responsibility lies not just with the media, but with all of us as consumers of information. It's essential to stay vigilant, question sensational narratives, and demand that journalism serves the truth, not ratings. Thank you for joining me today. I encourage you to think critically about the role of media in shaping legal outcomes, and as always, share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for episode 7, where we will explore the intersection of legal journalism and public accountability.